Shalom. Um, I had a dream last night, and it really did bother me. It was so scary. Um, it started out with me watching the news, and on the news, I'm watching these Victorian homes. Um, it was a neighborhood with Victorian homes, and they were talking about these kangaroos that were in this man's house, and they were trying to figure out how to get him out of the house. Well, as I'm watching the news, I'm watching everything play out, and the way these Victorian homes were, they were set up like. It kind of put me in the mind of that old school show called 227, where the little old lady would be hanging out the window, or something like the Cosby Show. Well, as I'm watching on the news, the door to this house is open, and there's a kangaroo standing in a doorway. Well, you see the kangaroo, and but you see a lot of other fur like standing behind him, and the way it was set up, it's like the door opens up to the stairway. So the door behind the door is a staircase that leads up into the home, and the the kangaroo walks out and steps on the porch, and behind him is another kangaroo. And I'm looking and I'm like, wow, this is crazy, And then you can't really understand dreams, but the dream kind of like shifts to me being in the neighborhood, like watching from across the street, and the second kangaroo comes out and stands on the porch next to the first kangaroo, right? And behind that second kangaroo was a lion. A lion. And behind that lion was lionesses. Like the house was full of lions and lionesses. Soon as that one lion came out, it's like the way he came out, he like prowled out. Like how their stature and how they walk. Well, when he came out, he stood on the porch, and it was like the lionesses was just like in formation, and the look on his face was just real stern and consistent. But the lionesses, they were like growling, and they were showing their teeth. And I began to panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on? Like, why are they all in this house? Well, the windows, you could see 4 windows. The 4 that were near the 2 that were near the porch, and 2 above that led, to the house, that the house upstairs or whatnot. And in each window, all you saw were faces of lions, and they were all showing their teeth. Okay, so around these houses, like all the houses were attached to each other. I'm pretty sure y'all know what Victorian houses look like, or if you think of, like I said, the Cosby Show, how it looked like, how they're set up. Well, they had little fences, like the little metal fences, not gate bars, but thin fences. And they didn't have garages attached to the houses, but they did have like a driveway. Like it was a little a little driveway, just big enough for you to park your car. Okay. And this man, it was his house. The man whose house it was parked there, but he had backed in. So he was backed into the parking space. And it was almost like he was trying to flee. He was like so scared. He was so paranoid. And the lion itself was like just looking at him. He wasn't growling. He wasn't approaching him. He was just looking at him. But the lionesses, they were showing their teeth. They were growling. They were like ready to attack. And the man get out the car halfway, like His house is to the right of him, and his parking space is to the left of the house. And so when he get out the car, he doesn't fully get out the car. He kind of like, he has his leg still in the car, and he's holding the wheel of his car with his right arm. So his right arm and right leg is still in the car. And he's just like trying to like bait for them to shoot, like, come out of my house, like, why you out of my house? So he's like saying some stuff to them or whatever, to the lions. And oh God, before you know it, I'm watching everything, like I said, from across the street. I can't see me. I can tell that I'm there. And I see this black leopard coming up the street on his left side, coming up behind him, and it's creeping, like it's literally on the prowl, but it's like creeping super slow, and he real low, and it was like the lion knew what it was, knew what was going on, and that's why he was so cool, calm, and collected. Like he knew that the black leopard was about to attack this man, and he knew the man didn't know. And it was like he had like this smirk on his face. And before you know it, the black leopard just pounced on the man. And then when the leopard jumped on the man, then the lionesses, all of them start jumping off of the porch over the fence onto the man, they were all on top of his Volkswagen, like the old school Volkswagen. It's a Beetle, like the Volkswagen Beetle is the type of car he had, and they all was just jumping on him and just, I mean, literally ripping this man to shreds. Like, I've never seen this before in my life. Like, when I'm watching a scary movie or something, I don't watch scary movies, but if I consider anything gory scary. So I've always been the type to close my eyes and cover my ears, because I don't want to hear it and I don't want to see it. Well, like, I didn't have the luxury of covering my eyes. It was like I was forced to see all of this, and I could see I was seeing everything that a human body has inside of it as they were tearing this man apart in the dream. Like, it was crazy. And then there was this man driving up, this Edomite man. He was driving up, and he was driving up the street, blowing his horn, and like throwing stuff out the window. And like, he thought that he was gonna like act like he was gonna ram his car into them to get them to stop, but they didn't even pay him no attention. So as he's like, hey, y'all stop, like, and for some reason, he thought he could help. They all got, that you couldn't see, it was blood everywhere. You couldn't see anything but blood on the ground. And so once the man saw that, like, he had his car windows open and everything, which was the craziest part. He had his car windows open, and as he had the car windows open, he saw them looking at him like, okay, you next. Then he tried to like roll his windows up, but he didn't have enough time to roll his windows up. They started jumping into the windows, devouring this man in his car. And I was like, oh my god, I was panicking. Like, my heart was beating so fast. Like, I knew I was in the dream, but I kind of felt myself outside of it, like in my actual body, like my heart beating really quick. And it was like I was trying to wake up out of the dream, because I was scared, like, but they get him. Okay, so as they're getting him, then all you see is like a continuous, innumerable amount of lions and lionesses coming out of this house. Like, it would not stop. They were like pouring out of this man's house, to where they started to fill up the streets. Like, we're in South Africa or something on a safari, no joke. Like, it was more lionesses than it was lions, though, which was kind of weird to me. And then, like I said, it was that one black leopard, and then there was a cheetah. And it's crazy though, because they all look blended in, and at some point, I don't know when that cheetah walked out, because they all looked the same, except for the spots on the cheetah. So there was one cheetah, a black leopard, all lionesses, a few lions. I don't know how many, but it was just a few lions and those two kangaroos. Well, at this time, I'm shaking so bad because I'm like, I'm super spooked. I'm scared. I don't live there. There's no way that I can go into a home or anything like that, and there's no protection whatsoever because the way the houses were set up, it's like these were little thin, short gates, and then it was concrete everywhere. There wasn't any grass, so it was like, and then there was no like backyards, none of that. It was just like this little bitty compartment where you can just pull your car in and park right there alongside of your house. So it was like I'm literally out in the open, and not to mention I have both of my toddlers. Like I have my 3-year-old and I have my 1-year-old. I'm holding my 1-year-old, and my daughter, I'm holding her hand, and I'm like, okay, now mind at this time, like the street is saturated, like the whole street is saturated. It's like they didn't know that I was standing where I was standing, but I just remember praying, and it's like I'm talking about it now, and I'm literally shaking. But I was praying. I was like, Yahweh Baba Kashad, do not allow them to see me. Do not allow, them to notice that we're standing here. Like, Baba Kashad, please don't let them, like, don't let them see us. Like, don't let them attack us. Like, protect us. So I'm praying, and I'm just standing there, and I'm like, oh, God. And I was praying that my babies wouldn't, like, say anything, cry, or make a noise to, like, get their attention. And like the man whose house it was, he was an Edomite, and the man that tried to save him was an Edomite too. That's another thing that I noticed. So as soon as I prayed that prayer to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, I heard him say, "Go into this house," right? Go into this house, and I didn't know what house he was talking about. But when I looked, there was one house on the block that was like maybe 100 feet from where I was standing, that the door was open. And I'm like, man, I know all of these houses because every house on the block, you can see they were all full of lions. They all were full of, like it was a lion plague. No joke. Like it was a plague of lions, and they were in everybody's houses, and they was killing up the whole city or whatever. But I was shaking, and I was like, oh my God, I know if we go in this house, they're going to be in there too. The door is open. They got to be in there. And I just heard like, okay, shit, I don't have nothing to lose. And I heard Yahweh Shemashai tell me to go into this house. So I just was like, okay. So I trusted. I was like, I trust you, Father. I trust you. So I walk with I'm literally walking like to the side, like left to left, like right foot, left foot to the side, paying, keep my eyes on them with my babies. And then I kind of like run up into this house, and I close the door. So these houses, like I said, they were Victorian houses. So all the houses, the way they were set up, you had to walk in the house, but there's stairs that meet you as soon as you walk. There's no foyer, no nothing. It's just like you open the door, stairs. So you got to go up the stairs to get into the house. So I walk up into this house, close the door behind me. And I was scared at first to close the door because I was like, man, if I need to run out, I don't want to close the door. But I just kept feeling like this unction in me saying, I got to have faith. I got to have faith. Yahweh Shemashai told me to go in here, I'm going to be good. So I run up in this house. And when I get to the top of the stairs, it's not even a house. It's like a studio instead of a home. It's just all open. And you can see that there's a bathroom, but I didn't go in the bathroom. You can see that the opening for the kitchen, but everything else was open. And when I walked into there, it was like I saw two beds in this big open space. Like they were significantly separated from each other. So the whole opening, like the square footage that I walked into, 2 beds took up that space. And each one of those beds, instead of having a headboard, they had a ladder up against the wall. It was a ladder up against the wall, not a regular ladder, but it was like they mounted pipes against the wall to create a ladder. And when you were to climb up this ladder, up there was like these other beds, but they weren't like beds with like headboards, nothing like that. It was kind of like pallets, like foam. It could have been foam. I don't know what it was, but I know that it was where little kids were supposed to sleep. Okay. And it they had like bars, like these pipe bars to cover the kids to where like if they were to roll they wouldn't fall off. Now mind you, this is close to the ceiling, like this is high up. So whoever's house it was, they knew of what was going to happen with these lions. They had prepared and prepared their home to protect their kids, so that they knew that if they put their kids up there, that the lions wouldn't be able to get to their kids. So immediately, like I climbed this ladder. I'm going up the ladder, going up the ladder, going up the ladder, and I got both of my babies. I'm holding the 1-year-old, and I let my 3-year-old go up before me, and I'm like, leading her up the ladder. So when I get to the top, we're sitting up there, and I'm just like praying to Yahweh Shemel, like, gosh, like, what is this? What is going on? I'm by myself. I don't have no covering. I don't have no man with me. It's just me and the girls. And before I know it, I'm sitting up there. Like, it wasn't enough space for me to stand up, because it was like I was, at this point, I'm at the ceiling now. Like, I was that high up, okay? And I could sit up comfortably, but I couldn't stand up, And as soon as I got up there, the lions start coming out of the bathroom, coming out of the kitchen. It was so many of them. It was like at least 30 to 40 lionesses, and it was one lion. And they were like all coming in, and I tried to go and find some pictures, and that's what these pictures are, to describe, what I was seeing and how they looked. But the lionesses, they were all moving real slow behind them, like, yeah, we about to get you. And the lion, like I said, the whole time, his face was just cool. Like, I never heard him growl. It was like I was more afraid of the lionesses than I was of him. Even though he was a lion, I would never touch him. I was still scared, but it was almost like, if he say go, it's go time. And it was like the lionesses, they was wishing, they was looking for a reason to go ham, And my babies were, as I'm talking about it right now, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, my babies the whole time, they never said one thing. Like, they didn't cry, they didn't make no noise, they didn't, the whole time. Like, and to me, Yahweh Shemashah knows how important that is to me, because I often think of, what's to come. I try to prepare myself mentally for Jacob's trouble, and one of my biggest concerns is that I have small kids, and what if I'm in a position or a situation to where I'm trying to hide, and they make noise, or they crying, or they whining, and that I always pray to Yahweh Shemashah that he will keep my babies quiet, to where we won't be found out, like, I don't know, like, to me, as I'm talking about that, I'm just thinking, like, dang, the whole time they never said anything, and I'm like, I'm getting teary-eyed, because it's like, to me, I feel like that was a way of Yahweh Shemashah possibly telling me that if we ever do have to be in a position to where we're hiding and I got my babies, that he's going to make sure that they're not heard, you know what I mean? Or they're quiet in that moment. But Amos was coming to mind, I think 5 and 9, if I'm not mistaken. And it was coming to mind about as a man flee from a lion, and he runs into a bear, or he runs into a house, and he puts his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. It's like I was hearing that scripture was coming to me, and it's so crazy, because I never really remembered the scripture itself, but in the dream I knew it, and it was like all the scriptures that the Akim recite during their lessons. It was like I know a lot of them by key words, but roughly paraphrase them. And that's just another thing. Like, I need to read my word more, because in this dream, it was like Yahweh Shemashah was bringing all of these scriptures to my remembrance. And every time he brought a scripture to me, he brought it to me, and he wanted me to recite it. Like, he wanted me to say it and speak it, like, as a covering, And one of the lionesses, she was like growling and prowling and stuff like that. And then I was so scared, I just tried to like look away from her or whatever. And then she like jumped on one of the ladders. Oh my gosh, she jumped on one of the ladders and was kind of like swinging from it with one of her paws. And as she was getting ready to slip and fall, she caught her fall with her other paw and was holding on to the ladder with both paws. I started calling on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I was screaming, calling on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I was like, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, protect us, protect us, protect us. And it's crazy because in that dream, I even told him, I said, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, protect us like you protected that sister in her dream. A few months ago, I know the Akim, and most people probably remember, it was a sister that had a dream about Jacob's troubles and how like the military soldiers had tried to rape her, and she was calling on the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai sent one of the Akim, like literally lifted up a standard within him, and he had spiritual powers, and he came through, broke through. And he came and he beat them all down, like she said, like it was nothing. And he put his hand down to her, and she was like, the water, and she hugged him or whatever, and he like protected her, And I think about that on a daily. Like, I really believe how by Shem Yahushua, I know he can do all those things. So even in my dream, I was saying that to him. I was like, Father, keep and protect me, keep protecting. How Shem Yahushua, Papa Kushai, don't let this lion come up here. Like, I was just saying so much. I can't remember everything that I said, but in that moment, I heard this screeching whistle. And it wasn't like a referee whistle, like you blow a whistle. It was kind of like, it sounded like it was real high pitch, like that. And it kind of reminded me of like when you were in middle school and you have a music class and you had a little plastic flutophone thing, and the highest pitch on that is what it reminded me of. And in that moment when that happened, she let go of the ladder. And she fell on the bed and fell off the bed. But when that whistle was blown, they all, like, in formation. When I say in formation, they all just stopped and turned all the way around towards the door like a pivot. Like, they all pivoted. Like, they all turned at the same time, like a choreographer choreographs dance moves. They literally all turned together and they went down the stairs with the lion leading them out of the house. And my heart was beating so fast and I was crying so hard. I felt myself crying in my sleep. I knew at this point that I was dreaming, but I couldn't come out of it. It was because Yahweh Shem Yahushua wanted me to see this next thing. The way these Victorian homes were set up, there's 2 windows at the bottom that is like equivalent to where the stairs are, and 2 windows at the top, but they're all 4 in front of the house. But where I was sitting, I was equal to the top windows, so I could see right out of them. And the house across the street, there was another man in a black Suburban, like a Tahoe Suburban. And he was like, I don't know who all was in there with him, but he was like revving his engine. He's in the middle of the street, and it was like, hey, there's nowhere you can drive. But I'm watching him in the middle of the street trying to drive, and they were so packed he couldn't even drive through them. He could not even drive through them. And then I don't know why all these people had their windows open, but it was this man and a woman, and all of a sudden you can see his truck, this big truck, like rocking back and forth, side to side, and the lions were like jumping in, and the lionesses, they were like jumping through the windows, and you can hear the woman and him screaming, and they were so ferocious. They snatched the woman out of the truck, right, to get to him, and as they snatched her out, the man tried to go on the floorboard of, the driver part of his car. And for some reason I was able to see him like in the car, like I was right up on the car to see what it looked like. But they were ripping these people to shreds. And I woke up. But I know that meant something so spiritual. I have a lot of dreams, but I don't ever put them on here. And today I just like, nah, I have to, I know this was spiritual. And I don't know, like, I feel like, how about Shimmy Shai, this will encourage somebody, because me and my baby survived that. Me and my baby survived that. We were able to see it all. And all of these people being attacked like that, and how these lions was filling up the houses, it was like we were protected.